Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STLTechTalk podcast. My name is JJ Hammond. We have another great show for you tonight. Are you ready for the top tech news stories of the week, applications that you should try on your favorite gadgets, fun and lively commentary, of course, and our special guest interview, editor-in-chief of FrontBurner.net, a network developed to provide a community for everyone that loves tech, games, and all forms of entertainment. Lives in Tampa, Florida, father of 6-year-old and 11-month-year-old boys, writer of the popular features Random Drops and My Wife, the Casual Gamer, Google Tech fan, and maker of Bad Phone Contract Decisions, avid tweeter at Agent XK, always available on Skype and any gaming platform, Agent XK for Xbox, Agent XK for PlayStation, and Agent XK for Steam. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Josh, and it's Josh Knowles. So he's going to be on our show tonight, so excited to have you on. I can't tell you how awesome it is to have known you for a whole 30 minutes, but I already feel like I've known you my entire life. But this show could not be complete without my good friend, editor-in-chief of our site, STLTechTalk.com. Say hello, Kevin Harvell.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Happy NFL Draft Day.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know it's hard for you guys to listen to that and this at the same time, but trust me, I know you can do it because you listen to your significant others and play video games. So, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook.com/STLTechTalk, Google+, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Windows Phone, TuneIn Radio, or listen directly from our site. Visit STLTech.com to keep up with our tech news, podcast, our famous Codecast, forums, and coming soon our how-to tutorials on gadgets and software applications. Don't forget you can interact with the show by sending us feedback to podcast@STLTechTalk.com. And if you're watching us live, you can ask us questions via the chat room, and we'll do our best to answer those questions in a timely manner. Special thank yous tonight go out to, of course, without a doubt, Indio Techno. Aaron, thank you so much for your help in wrangling in this great guest that we have for tonight. Thank you, Keith Dolby. He was our guest on last night's Codecast that Kevin hosted. Holy cow. While I was off doing it really didn't count all that much. Paul Manzuda, Rural Moms, and Brenda Hill from Verizon. Thank you all very much for supporting the show in one way or another. We appreciate it. So having said that, let's go ahead and hop right into the news of the week. And Josh could jump in and comment wherever you want. Kevin, go ahead and get us started with the news rundown.
All right, the first story that I want to talk about tonight is Sprint is talking about slamming on the brakes for the top 5% of data users in congested areas. So basically, Sprint, well known for being unlimited data, truly unlimited data. Now it's looking like they're wanting to throttle some of their highest users.
Sprint, they call that crawfishing.
Yes, crawfishing. So in order to keep their network running a little bit smoother, but it just depends on where you live. Josh, I'm not sure. You live down in Tampa. I'm not sure how Sprint is down in your area.
It's a pretty popular phone company. I mean, it's not the biggest out here, but definitely. I know a few Sprint users that I know one who was in the 1%. So yeah.
Kind of the biggest complaint though a lot of people have with Sprint is the fact that their network is a little slow data speed wise. So I mean it's tough to compete with AT&T and Verizon with with their LTE signals, and T-Mobile's really been cranking it up in areas, and they're proudly banging on their chest saying they're the fastest data network in America right now. But of course it just really all depends on the areas that you live in.
So I'm going to hop in here if you don't mind, Kevin. I think that this is concerning because Sprint was kind of the last holdout with this unlimited data plan, if you will. This sense that data really wasn't a factor. Yeah, we the ads from T-Mobile, and we saw the girl on the the motorcycle streaming across the United States and points wherever, saying how fast the speeds were and how it was unlimited, but up until a certain amount, which I don't really think that that's a truthful statement. When you say something's unlimited to a certain amount, that doesn't make any sense. But the fact that Sprint is now kind of throttling back tells me that this is going to be a systemic problem going forward for this industry. And us as the users, while more of our services move to mobile data plans, we're not going to be able to enjoy the thought of one day having more data. We're just going to be capped. And I don't like living in a world that's so restricted, Kevin. It makes me claustrophobic.
Completely understand, man. Unlimited's the way to go if you can get it, and unfortunately, Sprint's just not for me, because
they have Boost Mobile down there in Florida. I know Boost Mobile is real big down in Florida, and I think they may have been bought out a couple of different times, but they're still using Sprint's towers network. Yes. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying, Kevin?
Just Boost is, you got Boost, Virgin Mobile. Those are the Sprint prepaid options.
Right.
So this is supposed to start on June 1st, I believe.
Even though I'm happy with the raise in data on AT&T, Verizon, and other carriers and stuff like that. I don't like being like, yay, I get another half a gigabyte. I would like, more. Just because I use more data than
you greedy, man. You greedy.
I know. I can't help it. It's within my nature. In fact, it's bred into the very fabric of who I am. Speaking of that, we are launching a new site in June. It's going to be our STLTechChic.com. It's STLTechChic if you're want to say that too. But that's going to be with Aubrey Bates, and she's a phenomenal writer as well as a phenomenal person, and we look so forward to being able to launch that site. In congruence with that, I'd like to also talk about the new launch code division called CoderGirl. It aims to train women programmers. In the St. Louis area right now, there is a program, forgive me for saying it that way, but there's dual uses for that word in this particular context. There's a program initiative that's helped train hundreds of aspiring computer programmers to write code. And starting starting tonight, a new division of Launch Code takes off, and that's CoderGirl. And it's with Colleen Liebig, a portfolio success manager with the St. Louis-based Cultivation Capital. And I got to say, Launch Code is a phenomenal program to get into. I've actually spoken to people who have gotten this program. What it is you take a free Harvard class through something called edX, and through their software programs. It's a Harvard program. You do it for a couple of months, and then Launch Code sticks you based on your scores on this Harvard free access to place you in a worker apprenticeship program. Yeah. And what's phenomenal about it is at the end of that apprenticeship, you can decide to work for this company. This company can decide to hire you, or you can go to another company. All the while, you're making like $15 an hour while you work. I mean, it's a phenomenal idea, and it's great because there are so many startups in St. Louis, and there's so many open job positions in the in the computer science department. So the computer programming field itself. So this is excellent, and I like knowing that this particular person is doing this in our local city. Kevin, what do you have to say about this?
Tonight is their first full event, and they're having it over at the St. Louis Science Center at the Planetarium. So tonight is the first time they're having a first organized, big group get together. And talking about Launch Code, they've placed more than 60 coders with experienced programmers inside companies across St. Louis, and 30 or a little bit more of those have been hired full time within those companies that they've been placed. So that's 50% rate right there of getting hired, depending on the spot they are in the path that they've been going through and how far they've been going with this development cycle.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I think
it's amazing. I think we need more women in this particular field, and I'm excited that we're a part of that, and I'm excited that St. Louis is a part of that as well. Down there in Tampa, how's the tech scene down there?
Honestly, Tampa's become kind of a hub for a lot of tech-based industry. Just in the real downtown area, airport area. I mean, it's there's a whole bunch of different areas opening up, but it's become they're kind of hiring anybody who knows a thing or two at this point in time, which has led to some good and some bad, and it's really interesting to kind of see the growth and change. I used to tell people, back in the day that, for example, nursing used to be the way to go as far as an education, but now, I mean, if you learn the code, you're going to have a job.
Forever.
There's plenty of opportunities in all kinds of industries.
Yep, Kevin and I both are going to do the Launch Code program over the summer, so that'll be fun. And then we'll chronicle our lives through the process and let everybody know in the tech industry what this the possibility looks like. And this is actually putting some pressure on local colleges to try harder to keep their students in class and show their students why they need to attend a full university or pay this much money to go to a school when you could do something for free and get just as high a level of pay. So it's an interesting paradigm shift. Kevin, why don't you start us off with your next story?
Just one other thing I wanted to touch on. Colleges and stuff, they've got to make sure that their curriculum is current and up to date, because technology and everything changes so fast. You can't be teaching the same curriculum 4 semesters in a row. I mean, that's technically 2 years if you don't count summer semester, but you just got to stay current, and you got to have forward-thinking people directing those departments.
Mum's the word, Kevin. Mum's the word.
Mum's the word. All right, so how much would an iPhone have cost you back in 1991? Now, I remember when I first bought my first desktop computer, it was like 1996, and I wanted to upgrade the hard drive from that 1.5 gig hard drive to a whopping 13.6 or 13 point something. It was like 300 something bucks. And this was at Sam's, and it was a Western Digital, and I think, man, I will never fill that up. So as you can see, storage was huge.
Sure.
So the cost, there was a nice article over on techpolicydaily.com kind of talking about this, at how much a gigabyte of hard disk storage back in 1991 cost around $10,000, perhaps a touch less. We've got the iPhone 5S, 5C, 16, 32, 64 gig of storage. If you take a 32 gigabyte multiplied by that $45,000, that would equal $1.14 million. Now that's just the price of the storage. That's not counting, everything else. So we're talking, some serious money, like $3.56 million. Just roughly.
What are we talking about here?
Talk about how much an iPhone would have cost back in 1991 if you factor in the technology based on prices of like storage and little displays and stuff like that back 23 years ago.
That's how much it would have cost if it was made back then?
Yes, that's how much it probably would have cost, like, retail.
That's insane.
No, that is insane. Trivia for the insane this week, brought to you by Kevin Harvell from STLTechTalk. Yeah, no, that's crazy.
It's a very interesting read, and we'll have a link in the show notes, so head on over and check that out. It's like, wow.
I actually read through that as well, and I mean, just looking at in 20 years, how much the price of technology has changed.
Right.
Is insane. I mean, I was just reading through it, and I'm like, I remember the first gig of data we had in a computer.
I know, it was such a big deal. You're like, whoa, you don't have a gig? No, I don't have. You have a gig? Yeah, I got a gig.
Now, something I'd love to see, the iPod, breaking down the iPhone was amazing, but imagine seeing like a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, something like that, like with the processing power and everything else.
Right.
So one thing, I know this is terrible, but I'm going to throw it anyways. I watched the breakdown. It costs $79 and some change, so we'll just round it out to about $80 to make Google Glass, and they sell it for $1,500 right now. So how weird is that we're talking about how much this would have cost if it was built back then, and then how much stuff costs now to build, and then how much they charge for it. So it's like an inverse or something. I kind of just bring that up because that's insane, right? Like, it doesn't cost that. I mean, they factored in, Google tried to spin it off, which I understand, which is the research and development and the design and all the patents and stuff like that. But I mean, $79, you're like, what?
Yeah, and they also want to make sure that their product gets in the right hands. The passionate people that definitely want it and want to try it out and put the most use to it. I mean, that's why before it even kind of launched to the private Glass Explorer program, you had to give them and show them reasons why they should pick you to be in that initial batch of Explorers.
But just think if that same requirement would have been like on older devices. It's so weird to me why they haven't propagated this more. I don't know. I'm always for, if you have a product and you like it and you make it and you've designed it or whatever, why not try to get that out to as many people as absolutely possible?
I agree. I mean,
so I don't know. This is weird to me. That situation, but that's interesting, Kevin. Though your story was very interesting. Absolutely.
JJ, I do really agree with you as well. I mean, it kind of blows my mind to see a company that's known for advancing tech and pushing things in a new direction. That's kind of saying, well, we don't want everybody to have this, and even though we feel this is the next. This next step as far as using our technology, unless you're going to give us $1,500.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, in a world increasingly losing their buying power, it's just, I think it's a bad move. I just really do. I think in the long run it's a bad move. You try to get bugs and stuff worked out. Not only that is, you could sell a gajillion of those if you only sold them for X amount of dollars, and then that's just more people that you have in your database, more information you're pulling in. I don't know. I maybe that's just from the outsider look, throwing stones in a glass or whatever, but I don't know. That's interesting.
I mean, you got Google I/O coming up in another month or so. So maybe that's when Google will come out and say, okay, we're done piloting, beta testing, whatever.
How mad would those people? How mad would those people be? They paid $1,500,
$300-$400.
Yeah, how mad would those people?
$200-$300.
Kevin,
thanks for the money.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Have you guys used that yet?
No.
So yet. I had there was a pair up at school once, and I checked them out for like 2 seconds, and for some reason I still am weird when somebody says bone conductor or anything. So the fact that it uses my head bone to like allow me to listen to things is a little creepy still yet. So I'm not a fan of that, but overall it was really interesting. I didn't get a whole lot of time with it, but I can see that it's for a techie that wouldn't mind being half cyborg and half human, that would be pretty hot.
I think it's really exciting for the right uses.
Yeah.
Not to just put them on and you get ready to walk out the house every single day and put them on. I don't think I could do that. I mean, there's just certain things that I know I would want if I'm going on a trail hike or going on a bike ride or something like that. You definitely want it to be able to capture things.
Finding yourself in an alcohol store and at the wrong magazine aisle. No. So the next story up we have is Office and to see Microsoft and Google competing while we're on this. By the way, Google, if you want to send me some Google Glass, I may change my tune on this whole thing. So Microsoft and Google are fighting now for the classroom. Microsoft has announced a preview of a new PowerPoint feature called Office Mix. This adds a whole new wealth of interactivity and slideshows. Basically, web-enabled attendees. If anybody has ever attended a webinar or any type of online teaching paradigm, they will. Whoa, that's my phone telling me that I have done that. No. So, all right. And so I have done that. And Google also announced a similar product that they're going to be coming out with as well. And both of these are aimed at teaching in the classroom. Now, I know that Microsoft may be charging a premium at this for a little while, but I would think that it's a more superior product because it works with some of the different aspects of PowerPoint, and you can do a little bit more with it. But obviously, you got Google right there behind them going, oh, yeah, there's a free version right here. Kind of like Google Docs, how we're doing our notes right now. So, interesting choice. Kevin, what do you think about this story?
I mean, you've got the Google Chromebooks and stuff like that, and Microsoft is so entrenched, with Office and Windows and everything. I think a lot of it's just going to come down to, like, schools and their budgets, what they're going to be able to afford and how they're going to be able to get people interested. And you got all these kids coming up at the age of 2 and 3 that can just whip out an iPad and do whatever pretty much they want to on it just by looking at icons and everything. So they're going to have to keep staying current with both platforms to keep everybody involved and interested.
I agree. So Josh, where do you fall on the whole Chromebook versus laptop tablet scenario / iPad? Because we, obviously, as everyone probably knows, in California, the public school system spent millions upon millions of dollars for like iPads and different stuff like that. Where do you think that this kind of fits into the equation as far as the battling for the classrooms?
Honestly, in my experience, I've seen. I've dabbled in all of them. I've always been really, really impressed with what the Surface could be.
Yes.
Not what it is, but what it could be. And Google's offering, because it's built off of Android, is amazing because it's literally what you want it to be. I myself, I use a Nexus 7 tablet for a lot of what I do when I'm out and about or going to trade shows. Just as it's so easy, it works with everything. To be honest, though, the productivity software sucks.
Yeah,
it does. Even if you have the nice programs, it's not Office. Using a Surface tablet, if I had a smaller tablet that was literally my PowerPoint / Word device that used all the features and everything else, and had cloud capability, that I could pick up from my computer without having to make sure I do this or sign up for this. I'd be happy with it. As far as Apple goes, I'm not the biggest Apple fan. I'm not. I feel like the spending $800 on a tablet is kind of insane when you consider the fact that my gaming computer costs just about that much, and there's so much more you can do with it. When there's the market's filled with $250, $300 tablets out there that do just about everything else, but they don't have an Apple on the back of it. So as far as it all goes, I love the idea that there's technology out there. I think as far as Microsoft versus Google, as far as on the productivity software, I have to stand a little bit by Microsoft, and I'm not one to usually do that, but I know they're the ones that put it together to begin with, and they're more of the trailblazers when it comes to productivity software, and they set the path for everybody else. Kind of Google, Apple. They're more reactionary about what happens at that point.
Yeah, I would have to totally agree with that for sure. It's no secret I'm a Microsoft fan, but it's not that I don't use all the other services that Google or Apple has to offer. And I think that it's interesting. You brought up a couple of interesting points. We're going to be talking about the new Surface Mini that's supposedly going to be launched here pretty soon, which is going to try to compete with that lower, the iPad Mini and even maybe the Nexus 7 line family to try to compete for that space as like the productivity machine for taking notes and all that other kind of jazz. So it's going to be interesting to see where that falls in the scheme of things. But you're right. It's it's difficult because when you're arguing with things that are free as opposed to things you have to pay for, that makes the argument harder. It's a tougher sell. But then if you make somebody actually use both systems and tell you which one's better, they'll tell you which one's better. It's the productivity of the Windows machines that always takes it off, but it's always the kind of the Android's interoperability with all the other kinds of like Square or all these other types of applications and features that unfortunately Microsoft just doesn't have now for their mobile strategy yet. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff that's come down the pike, but it's not here right now. And if we know anything about culture, it's about having things right this moment, not about promises in the future.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I just got a Windows phone.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm looking at it and I'm like, so yeah, we have an app store, we have programs as well. Okay.
So welcome to the cult. I will be more than happy to walk you through and knock out any questions you have. I'll be more than happy to hit you up or take care of you on that. Kevin, you're up with the next news story.
Right, so Amazon today has announced there's 15 more cities that is going to be available to receive Sunday deliveries. So not only will you be receiving products, 2-day shipping for your Amazon Prime customers Monday through Saturday, but now you'll also, in these 15 additional cities, be able to receive packages on Sundays. Unfortunately, St. Louis is not on that list currently, but you've got places like Austin, Cincinnati, College Station, Texas, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Houston, Indianapolis, Lexington, Louisville, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, San Antonio, Shreveport, Louisiana, and Waco, Texas. And it's interesting when you look at the press release that they quote, so far the most common items delivered on a Sunday include baby supplies such as newborn apparel, books and toys, and Sunday delivery is clearly crossing errands off the weekend to-do list. So I kind of think it's pretty neat. I mean, and if you're going to have delivery people running around on Sundays, that's kind of more jobs. So I kind of like the idea. You're paying now $100 a year for Amazon Prime.
Not me, son.
And still be able to get your products on Sundays too in these certain areas. So hopefully St. Louis will be on the next list that they release.
So first thing, I think the reason why St. Louis wasn't on there was because of the Bible Belt, but I'm not sure how that worked in Waco. There's reasons for that, I would think. Maybe there just wasn't enough demand for it, but I would say that the neighbors get mad at me when I'm doing things on Sunday. Let's just say that. So that's very interesting that that Sunday delivery. I really wish it would come around here because I would love to have Amazon deliver stuff all the time, and that means I would get my stuff. Well, by the way, when I paid for 2-day shipping, that doesn't mean I paid for 5-day shipping. So why stuff doesn't show up within that 2-day time frame that I paid for makes me want my head explode. So Amazon, if you're listening, just know how frustrated I am every time I pay you for something and you don't deliver. I just wanted to thank you for that.
But I will say I'm happy because I placed 2 orders yesterday, and they were both supposed to show up. 2 separate deliveries were supposed to show up tomorrow. One of those 2 showed up today.
I hate you, Kevin. That never happens to me, ever, whatsoever. Every time I order something, 2 days, we'll be there, JJ, we promise. It's the 3rd day at like 8 o'clock at night, and the UPS guy's like, oh, yeah, I almost forgot about you. It's like, yeah, awesome.
I think it's your UPS delivery people you need to talk to, not Amazon.
Well, it's not just the UPS guy. But how would you like to get packages delivered to you on Sunday, Josh?
Get this. We have an Amazon delivery center that opened up 15 miles away from where I live right now.
Check you out.
We're not on that Sunday list.
That's insane.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Part of the drone pilot program.
Apparently we're one of the areas they are going to be testing it in.
I would.
Because it's a small item warehouse. So
perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we may get that, but I'm like, I saw the announcement. I looked it up, and I was like, okay, cool. So if I order things, like, I mean, I have a baby. If I order diapers, with that cool, what is it, Mom's Club or whatever it is,
Sure.
I can make sure they're here on Sunday. No, no, I can't. It's Monday or Tuesday. That
You're like, I can see you from my house. What's
exactly. If I drive down the highway, I will see their massive, like 2 football-sized stadium. Warehouse just down the road. I mean, but we won't get. I mean, then again, the warehouse officially hasn't opened yet, so I can understand. Maybe they're waiting for it to be open before they say, "Yeah, we'll ship to you." We'll see, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not too keen about getting the whole sales tax.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So, very interesting story, Kevin. Definitely looking out for this. Hopefully coming to our city next year, maybe, or maybe a subsequent year after that. That would be pretty hot. And then drone strikes on Josh's place to see if that would be even better. Obviously, with not bombs, with loving care packages of diapers. So, my next news story is on the announcement that Microsoft's ad agency is now IPG. This coming from Mary Jo Foley and the ZDNet, all about Windows. Basically, Microsoft has been shopping around, rightfully so, by the way, for a new ad agency to take care of their marketing strategy. And one of the marketing moves they made was when they used Mark Penn, an ex-political strategist, on the Scroogled campaign. Many of you probably have seen the Pawn Stars commercial, and if you haven't, you should YouTube it because it's hilarious. Their Scroogled campaigns are now at an end. They're no longer in service. But one of the high marks of this new area in Microsoft is the fact that now there's a new marketing team. Before they were shopping around and they were trying to get a good strategy, and they're going up against the likes of Samsung and Apple. Period. Samsung and Apple spend more in the market, I would say, than anybody in the world. And by the way, I just saw a YouTube advertisement the other day. Why is there YouTube advertisements? Don't they get like a million people like checking them out every day? Anyways, that's neither here nor there. The company Interpublic Group is now Microsoft's ad agency. This has a marketing budget of 1.3 million marketing dollars for the U.S. alone. So
actually,
we should see a
billion.
Huh?
Actually, I think that's a billion with the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say million? 1.3 billion.
Lowballing.
Yeah, I'm lowballing big time. Yeah, I was off like 900 and some odd million. But so $1.3 billion marketing strategy. Guys, what do you think of this? Do you think that it's a long time? What were they waiting for? If you're a fan of Xbox or anything to do with the gaming industry, you know that they've been behind the curve a little bit. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I think they needed to make a change. It's been just on the gaming side of things. Microsoft's been kind of doing really bad on PR, and I know PR is separate from the ad agencies, but I mean they're not really their ad campaigns themselves are kind of silly. I mean, you watch it and you're like, why do I care about this? It's a bunch of people hanging out on a roof getting games dropped on them. I mean, that's okay. I think that Microsoft's definitely been trying to make a change to I don't want to say modernize because it's kind of a silly thing they say when you talk about Microsoft, but actually reflect more of what they really want to get across. And I think they've made some changes across the board that have kind of nodded to the fact that, hey, this is what we're going to do, and I think this is another one of those.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is kind of like a whole new era for Microsoft. You've got a new CEO.
Really is.
They're going more cloud-based, and just everything is changing, and it's a real positive time. So I hope that they can get the positive PR and nice positive ad campaigns going, showcasing what their current Surface line and their future Surface line, how it compares to the iPads and the Nexus 7s and the Android-based tablets, because we all know Surface does good, and you know, like JJ mentioned, and he's got a story coming up about the Surface Mini.
I do.
That sounds like exactly, Josh, what it is that you're looking for.
I know. So, Kevin, you're up with your next news story. By the way, I just saw Russell Wilson rocking a Surface commercial, so this is probably the beginning of that marketing strategy. Go ahead.
It could be. All right, now this kind of news broke a little bit not too long ago, actually. Apple is.
When I saw it, I'm like, what?
Yeah, Apple is reportedly close to acquiring Beats Audio for $3.2 billion.
Billion.
Now pretty much everybody knows Beats Audio for, you know, those big, sorry, in my opinion, big gaudy headphones that I compare to, like monster cables.
Yeah.
Where it's a product that you can buy for much cheaper and still get the same, if not better, experience for a whole lot less. And I don't know, because HTC, with the HTC One from last year and a couple other devices, they had partnered up with Beats Audio for their, you know, equalizer for their boom sound dual stereo.
Remember that? HP even teamed up with them for a little while.
Yeah, because it's some HP laptops have Beats Audio built in. I was just working on one HP Envy the other day, and so with Apple to buy Beats, I mean, Apple, of course, they're the ones that, you know, put MP3s really on the map with their iPods, and, you know, iTunes is still probably the largest music source, you know, in the world.
Podcast, music, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
So it makes sense that they would, but Beats, really?
Okay, it's weird to me. Why do this? Josh, you look like you've been itching to say something for the last 5 minutes. What do you got?
All right, as far as Beats go.
Yeah, a topic we want to talk about. Let's talk about it.
As far as Beats go, I have you know, in using game tech and things like that, I've used plenty of headsets and different types of audio. Sure. And recently, I was given a Beats headset to just use. I mean, it wasn't for gaming or anything, but I put it on and I was like, this is, people pay $300 for this? And someone was like, oh, well, you don't have the equalizer set. And I'm like, this is a headphone without any knobs on it. What are you talking about the equalizers?
Right.
At the same time, I do know that they have software that's great for music. I mean, I've seen the HTCs that actually, you know, have the ability to play back and sound great. I think that as far as Apple goes and acquiring Beats, I think that would be a strong nod to what we can expect coming up, announced in September.
If not before.
Oh yeah, if not before. And I think that would kind of maybe be a strong step in the next evolution of really what they want to market themselves as, which has kind of been what they are anyways. But as you guys probably know, if there's one thing an iPhone is not, it's not a great system with a good speaker. And
that's true. That's very true.
If they can slap Beats on it and maybe throw, you know, something other than paper speaker into that phone, I think that does a lot for them. I personally, it's not something that would make me say, hey, time to throw my phones away and go get an iPhone.
Right.
But I understand where they'd be coming from. I just think it's kind of like, as it was put earlier, monster cables. It's, you know, hey, let's get those nitrogen injected cables and, you know, we'll reduce over-the-air viruses.
Yeah, you need that $100 HDMI cable.
I used to sell those, man. I used to sell those. Trust me.
I'm sure you did.
That, but you bring up an interesting point though that a side of it that I hadn't thought of, which was Apple's position when they melded a phone with an MP3 player was, you know, obviously huge. You know, I bought one because I mean I love listening to my music and being able to have that. I'm a musician, so access and all that stuff. And you bring up a good point. If they can figure out a way to make their machine that's already like the centralized and #1 music store in the world, I would say, better on their devices themselves, then yeah, that's gonna really bring up their buying power. I hope that it translates into something, because yes, we've seen the things with the Beats Audio and we're kind of like, huh, I don't get it. You know, like you said, you know, the equalizer doesn't, there's no knobs on these things. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm gonna have to really think about that. Yeah, that's an interesting aspect to it. I hadn't considered that. I thought that they were buying them for their recently released streaming service that you can get, the monthly recurring charge one that you can put on your AT&T bill or whatever bill. I know that they came out with a Windows Phone version, Android, and an iOS version. So I wonder if that's going to work into this deal as well. If they buy the whole radio station outright, as well as the software and the hardware, that would be really interesting to see what comes of that. So I tell you what, we'll keep you up to date on that, guys.
Now, Josh, just real quick, Josh, you probably, being in the video game world, you've probably heard of iJustine. She's a big female gamer out in California, big YouTube, Twitter person.
Yeah.
She had tweeted earlier, a couple hours ago, that I will lose so much respect for Apple if they actually buy Beats. And then her response to somebody from that was, you know, because they are overpriced crap headphones.
But I will say this though, it's not just headphones. It's not.
Right. There's a lot more to it.
The hardware.
I mean, to go back, Kevin and JJ, going back to Monster. Yeah, we know Monster for their silly cables, but they did a lot of really good stuff with the advancement of speakers and things like that as well. You know, obviously this wasn't tech that we saw, you know, a lot in the retail environment, but at the same time, you know, Beats is working to improve audio at a software level. I mean, I know this for a fact. I've seen it. There's a YouTube video out there that I saw quite a while ago where someone demonstrated Beats versus Beats, and it was very cool to kind of see and hear, you know, the difference between the two. At the same time, I think that's kind of the mentality that, you know, Beats is headphones, and yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, the thing is that you're gonna lose respect for Apple for buying Beats. I mean, you respect Apple for not buying Beats. You know, they're business, and they need to do what's best for their business. And honestly, quite frankly, if they buy Beats, that's probably the best thing for Apple at this point in time, because they're in a trench war with the Android platform right now, yeah. And they're going to need to find a way to keep people from walking away. And you know, if they acquire Beats services and the tech and hardware that goes with that, I think that's going to give them something to stand by. Well said, sir. Well said. The next news, which should this flows nicely into that other conversation we have, is the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, is expected to preside over the New York City Surface Mini rollout. So what we do and we don't know about this thing, we know it's going to be somewhere between 7 to 8 inches, a tablet that's going to become equipped with a stylus, so that it's going to be, quote-unquote, a note-taking machine. It's going to become your default note-taking device. Now, a lot of people in boardrooms, meeting rooms, wherever rooms, are always writing on, you know, a regular notepad. Everybody always defaults back to a regular notepad. Well, with Surface, I use my Surface Pro for everything, all the time, every day, all that. And when I show people the detail that comes out with that stylus, I mean, and you can, you know, pinch to zoom and show how well and crisp that is, and then even zoom out far away, and just to see that interaction, people are pretty amazed. And I'm just like, you can use OneNote to really take advantage of a lot of awesome features with this device. Now, having it in a slimmer, lighter, smaller format, I think this could really sell. I think it could do well with the new, you know, Windows backing, and this assertion from the CEO that they are staking the company's future on the Windows operating system format. So there's going to be a lot of Windows Phone apps that are going to kind of come over from the phone side. There's going to be a lot of tablet apps that are going to come over from once the Windows Phone 8.1 update's been completed.
and we see new devices come out on that end. So I'm really excited about this. I think we're going to see a Windows RT version, and that's based on the ARM chipset. So, Kevin, first off, what do you think about this story?
I'm excited to see, them come out with a smaller one to compete with the iPad Mini and the Nexus 7. I think it's great that it's going to have a stylus with it, because I really wish my Surface RT had a stylus like your Surface Pro does, because it would definitely make taking written notes or drawing sketches in OneNote so much easier than trying to find a capacitive stylus that just really isn't going to be as fine as your traditional stylus. Hopefully there's going to be
crayon.
Yeah, exactly, or just drawing with my finger and it's that same width.
Right.
So by the fact that it's going to be running the RT platform itself, it is pretty much strictly going to be like you said, it's going to be a note-taking device. It's going to be nice and portable. You can be able to access all the nice Windows 8, 8.1 apps. If battery life is good, hopefully just as good, if not better, than the current Surface line, then they're going to have I think they're going to have a hit. Pair that with this new marketing strategy, good for them, because I know Microsoft's lost a lot of money over the last couple of years with the Surface line, but I really hope they stay the course, because it's great. They just need to, for some reason, tell everybody, people just need to take notice that it's really a strong platform.
Well, in games and all sorts of other things play very well on it. The RT, the Surface 2 especially, with the new high-res screen and all that, they're phenomenal machines. And gaming in general, I played the Halo Spartan Assault game, and I love it on my my tablet. So it's cool to see what can be done there, and then run the Halo on Xbox One, the Halo on my tablet, and the Halo on my Windows Phone. Having all that, just the possibility of that scalability is really cool. And then seeing this new device come out, I think is going to fit very nicely into a market that currently Microsoft isn't really heavily in to compete with the iPad Mini. Josh, what are your thoughts on this? Now that you've kind of heard all this and all that.
Well, first things first. If anybody from Microsoft, either ad agencies, PR, they're listening, call me. The biggest thing, like I said before, I've liked their system quite a bit. Tell a little bit of a story. Last year at PAX East, I was there with the review editor for FrontBurner, and we walked by a booth that had big Microsoft stuff all over it, and someone said, "Hey, you want to come over and try a Surface?" And I said, "All right, cool." They went over, they said, "This is Microsoft Outlook." They showed me a couple things, and then we just stood there awkwardly. And then they said, "Okay, cool. Thanks for checking out the Surface." And that was kind of my initial experience with the Surface. Was like, oh,
that's terrible.
But at the same time, after getting to use the Surface quite regularly, it's a great system. It's kind of I equate it to having a laptop without having to worry about the computer aspect of the laptop. Sure. I mean, it's great for productivity software. That Halo game is actually pretty awesome. There's a lot of good things for it. The ability to connect with Xbox. It's all Xbox Live now. Everything. So with all of that, it's great to see that Microsoft's going to hopefully say, "Hey, listen, we're going to embrace this. We're going to move forward. We're going to create something smaller," because after using the Surface 2, I believe a few things. Internet Explorer has a place in this world. It's on a tablet.
Right. The touch version, absolutely.
Yeah. I actually think it works better than Chrome. Lightning going to strike me, but yeah, I think it's a really, really, really good, solid system. It works quite well. Windows 8.1 is a great mobile device operating system.
Right.
Not necessarily a great computer operating system, but hey, that's another story.
Right.
I think that this is exactly what Microsoft needs to be taken seriously in this market. The only issue is it needs to be rolled out and it needs to be marketed appropriately. Because if we start seeing commercials of people buying their kids Surface tablets and stuff like that, or Surface Minis, I think we're going to be missing the picture.
Yes, agreed. They need to show, instead of dancing kids and clickable keyboards, they need to show what it can do. Period. They need to show what it can do. Microsoft, if you're listening, call me too. With that being said, thank you all for your participation in the normal news segment rundown. Now it's time for the tech ticker of the week. Come on, Kevin, you need to...
I got to come up with a sound.
Yeah, for sure. That we're gonna have to like on cue, like a Pavlovian response. Google stock is down 4% this week, as we heard that Chromebooks are going to get a revamp and a stronger push from Google to put them in the hands of schools and businesses. Also, Google stock took another hit because of more Apple rumors about the upcoming devices that are scheduled to come out possibly at the end of this year or the holiday season. Google and Microsoft joined in an open letter to the FTC on net neutrality this week, which was a huge issue for everyone, period. If you're not paying attention to this deal, everybody should be paying attention to this because the internet needs to stay open, period. Microsoft stock is down 1%, as this week brought us news of the Surface Mini launch. Also, this week was a revelation of the patent Microsoft has on a new smartwatch type device. Also, another issue, Bill Gates, in an interview with Fox Business, said that he would support the spin-off of Xbox as a separate company and stand behind Satya Nadella's move if he was to choose that, but would not get rid of Bing. Kind of interesting the way he worded that, for sure. Also, Gates sold over 4 million shares of his own Microsoft stock this week. Interesting, doesn't even begin to describe what is going on here. More of this probably to come later in other shows. Apple stock is down 1% as well this week, but a huge wave of news on its Q1 sales of its hardware. However, the iPad sales are down this quarter as opposed to last year's quarter of this quarter, however you want to say that. But the tablet market is slowing down. It just is. People aren't buying as many tablets. Amazon Kindle took the biggest hit. Apple did win a patent suit against the hardware and software maker Samsung, but it didn't really amount to much, I should say, and it didn't really do much for either side because after all the legal fees and the court fees and all that stuff, it pretty much amounted to a net win of everybody didn't win anything at all. Also, Kevin's last a bit of news there during the normal news segment was about the purchase of Beats Audio. So we should see a little bit of move in the markets from that. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Maybe they could pick their 1% back up. But I think that this was a good move. After listening to what Josh had to say and listening to what Kevin had to say, I do think that the stock is going to come up a little bit based on this Beats news. So that is your news stories for the week. To find out more information, or if you want to comment or contribute on any stories that you heard tonight or on the show, email us, podcast@stltechtalk.com for more information. So without further ado, now let's get on to the reason why we're all here tonight is not just to hear me and Kevin talk or anything else for that matter. It's our special guest interview. Josh, what got you into covering gaming in the first place?
Well, I started out studying communications and journalism at Daytona State College, small college in Daytona. After which, I actually started doing some review blogging for Circuit City's Gamers Club, which was their very, very, very short-lived kind of in-house publication that talked about new games coming out. After Circuit City went out of business, a friend and I started the defunct as of this month, GamingIrresponsibly.com. It was a way for me to get myself involved in what I loved while using the money I spent on an education to
City, by the way. Wow, what a nostalgic blast from the past that those two words were.
I like that place.
It was like, oh my God, that existed once. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So with that, we got things together, and it's always been it's fun to talk about games, absolutely, but it's fun to tell people about them as well. that makes sense.
I love watching people play
so
games.
The editor-in-chief of frontburner.net, and that's front, BURNR.net, so it's not like traditional spelling of burner.
That is correct.
What is FrontBurner, and how did FrontBurner, come to exist to what it is today?
Well, I guess first, how FrontBurner got to where it is. Josh Dean, he is the CEO of FrontBurner. He actually founded us after putting together a very successful gaming community with Kmart called Kmart Gamer. They did quite a lot. They actually turned around Kmart's whole video game department. I mean, they actually made it a place where people walk into a store to, buy things. And he had a lot of success with that, so he decided to make a community that something more independent. Now the team itself has taken over different forms over the last few years, and I actually joined FrontBurner a year ago, about a year and a half now, and I actually joined as a content producer, and I've worked my way up. We originally started as a way for companies to create content-specific meta sites for their products, but that's changed quite a bit since then. Now, as far as what FrontBurner is, FrontBurner is official launch form. It's a multi-headed beast. Our network hosts its own publication, which is the main part of FrontBurner. When you go to the site, that's one of the first things that's gonna hit you right in the face. Our original content, it's also known as the burners. This portion of the site is actually what I'm in charge of. It's my baby. I help with the day-to-day operation of the site overall, but the success of FrontBurner as a publication is my job. I also write two of our main features, Random Drops and My Wife, the Casual Gamer.
Great.
Sweet.
Nice. Your most recent one, Random Drops number 4, Bombfell, something for the style impaired.
Yeah, that's over a long discussion over what are we going to do outside of gaming. Someone in one of our content discussions asked about what's a loot crate. And that got the idea going of, why don't we take a look at these subscription-based product services and, talk about them. Hey, what is it? Is it worth it? And we decided to kind of color code things based off of video game drop rates and things like that. We have a lot of fun with it. It's pretty fun. And the Bombfell recently, it was actually a clothing service. And I'll tell you, I've never seen anything like it before. And I'm pretty amazed that there's things like that out there. I mean, it's a learning experience for me as well. Now, the other heads of FrontBurner, we do have a content aggregation system. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but something akin to like N4G or TextSpy.
Gotcha.
Now, users that on FrontBurner, they can actually make an account on the network where they can post links to content they've created personally. Or things they've seen that they like, and they can actually go there. They share it. We make sure, obviously, that it's acceptable, and then we share it within the network. It doesn't matter if it's articles, podcasts, pictures, any other types of media. All users are always welcome to submit and share their content, and the best received. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, just a phenomenal aggregator of data streaming, from different topics and things. This is really cool, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things we do is we take the best received content throughout the day, and it becomes featured stories at the middle of the page. So while you're going through and seeing what everybody else has submitted, you see the big things. And a lot of times this gives people an opportunity who, maybe they wrote a news piece on something or an opinion piece on, the latest announcement on, Nintendo's newest games.
Gotcha.
And it gives them an opportunity to get heard. It's pretty cool because you can go to other sites and you can throw things in there, but there's a chance that no one will ever even see what you wrote. Right. And at least with our system, we have several different ways for you to get eyes on what you've what you've created or what you like.
Right.
Now we also feature community groups, and this is where we actually have these user groups that are based around special interests. There's some pretty crazy stuff in there. I've seen. Apparently, there's a comic book called Axe Cop. We have an Axe Cop group in there somewhere. Nice. There's all sorts of things. There's like a parent gaming section. A lot of sites have made their own groups in there. I saw something about podcasts in there where it's like everybody was in this giant argument about podcasts recently. So it's pretty cool because it's a lot like a forum in the fact that, you know, obviously here's your thread, you go in there, but instead of a typical forum where it's kind of just, you know, walls of text after walls of text. I mean, people can upload media into it. They can kind of shape it and mold it to, you know, almost look different when you go into it. It's literally kind of a sandbox for users to do what they want to do, and, you know, there's a moderator for each channel as well.
Nice.
It's pretty funny. I myself, I don't use them too often. Josh gets on me about that all the time. But
you know, guys got to work. You know, I mean,
absolutely.
You can't be doing this and that. I mean, you're just like, well, you know, hey, sorry, boss. You know, I don't want to get caught up in this conversation and then not get my other work done. You know how it is.
Absolutely. Our community manager, I don't know how the guy does it, but he is like in every single channel. Like, I just happened to look the other day, and he was having a conversation with one channel and then in another channel at the same time. I'm like, dude, you got like, are you like dual boxing? What's going on here?
Yeah, for sure. He's like Mojo or whatever from the X-Men, or some type of like crazy savant, or like typing on 2 separate keyboards with 2 separate machines and 5 other different, you know, screens going at one time. He's one of those people, huh?
Oh yeah. It's hilarious. And then he's commenting on burner pieces and user content, and I'm just like, wow, you know, I wrote an article. So,
I love your guys' classifications of different things, or not classifications, but your ratings. Like, what's your reaction? It's cheers, what, nah, sad, rage, and then it has a gun. You know, that's pretty awesome. And then confused and sucks and LOLs. That's pretty neat. I like that a lot.
I actually that was relatively new. That was launched in the last major site update. Okay. I like that a lot too, because it gives people an opportunity who want to make a quick comment, but, you know, don't necessarily want to, you know, write out, you know, I hate you, Josh, because you said my game that I like isn't good. It gives them an opportunity to put something up there, and it's really funny to see some of the things that are said without actually being said.
Yeah, absolutely. So, also, it looks like you have here, and included in some of your user-specific groups and different groups, there's you can tailor blogs. Tell us a little bit about that too.
We actually, a lot of the active users, they get the opportunity to make a user-created blog. What happens there is the user actually almost is given a fresh canvas where they'll actually make a front burner based blog based on their interests. The first one we ever had was a podcast, a personal podcast called Sprite This Down, and it's an amazing podcast. Very talented individual puts it together, Dean Stevenson, and it's funny because this is a guy who retired from podcasting. That bug was still biting him, and he got back in, and I mean it's funny. I heard him sing a parody for What the Fox Says the other day.
God,
and it was hilarious because I mean it was campy, yet at the same time I mean I was like, it's awesome that somebody got an opportunity to do that, and they don't have to worry about hosting costs and stuff like that. You know, they get to go in and do that. We have another user who created a Heart of the Storm blog for the Blizzard MMO that's coming out, right. And it was one of the first like user created sites that had anything to do with Heart of the Storm. You know, something that Blizzard themselves gave a nod to.
Nice.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean it's cool in that aspect. You know, it definitely allows people to kind of become the master of their own realm. There's still, I mean, you're not going to create a massive network, based off of something you're using, but
yeah, but that's not what it's for. It's that personal connection, and building those relationships of like shared interests.
Absolutely, it's something we hope to see grow over time, where more and more and more users can kind of create their own world based on their tech and gaming interests. We keep I see more and more added on. I mean, somebody made their own video game website at one point in time, to the point where they actually ended up having to move it off because they wanted to grow it bigger. And I mean, once again, that was an opportunity that they probably wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah, on their own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and what are some of your gadgets that you like to use? I mean, I know you're a PC gamer. You're probably definitely also a console gamer. What are some of your favorite gadgets that you like to use?
Well, on a gaming level, I love my Astro A50 headsets. By far, and I've used a lot of different headsets. Mm-hmm. These ones are the most comfortable. They pick up everything, but they are amazing. I've never used a wireless device that's this reliable.
Yeah. Really, it sounds great on our end.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic over here.
Yeah, when I'm playing League, let me tell you, it's sometimes the guys I play with they're a little less appreciative of how well it picks up things.
Quit drinking that, dude. Quit chomping it down. The worst thing is the gamer. On the other end, some guy just making these weird noises. You're like, stop, just stop.
I play with a guy who seriously snores sometimes when he's breathing. Oh my gosh. You hear him and you're like, dude, are you sleeping? You're not? Okay, well, just making sure, because,
How about you just keep talking, because the sound of you talking is not as bad as the sound of you not talking.
Now, overall, I love gadgets in general. I mean, I've had things like the Sphero. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Stinky Footboard. There's so many different types of peripherals and crazy things out there, and I love my toys. I love the ability to play a video game with your feet. There's so many cool things out there, as long as it's not named Ouya.
Boom! Boom! Gotta get somebody a shot, and they weren't even looking for it. No.
That was literally a run up and just stick them. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's what it is, man. Fire in the hole.
That was an assassin move if I ever saw one.
Now, I will say the best piece of tech, something that I can't wait to own, is the Oculus Rift. I had a chance to take that for a spin, and I'm still recovering from my mind being blown. The fact that we look at the fact that a game like Doom was considered super realistic and amazing.
Right.
And then I'm playing a video game, and if I move my head and turn it to slightly, my character is moving their head and turning it slightly as well.
I see that being huge. What game did you play when you were playing it?
I actually played a space game. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. It may have been Strike Suit Zero.
Yeah, that had to have been beautiful. Like,
yeah,
look around and be like, "Oh, this is so awesome." You were flying in a ship, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I actually didn't end up flying. I did this for long enough that I think I wasted the majority of my time playing with it, just looking around.
Come on.
But it's amazing, and I know this June I will be spending some more time with it. The fact that the Facebook acquisition means it's going to remain something that is affordable, like we talked about earlier.
Okay. What your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, they're still saying the price point is hopefully not much more if less than a console.
Nice.
If you can stay within the $300, $400, $500 range, hey, I'll buy it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will agree with you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Said. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm like you. I grew up, first starting playing on the Atari 2600, Commodore 64, original NES back in 1985. I have such fond memories of just playing just Nintendo and playing Atari, Mega Mania from Activision on the Atari 2600 with my mom, and just all these other classic games. I mean, I'm almost personally to the point that I would rather play those games than some of the ones that are out today, just because the ones today take up so much more time. You can't just get in there, fire it up, get in a few rounds, and just, okay, I'm good, I got my fix, and go on about your day. What are some of your all-time favorite games that you have liked to play over the years?
Oh man, you're gonna open up that can of worms. As far as my favorite all-time game is Final Fantasy VI, also known as Final Fantasy III. That's a game that literally I played from middle school all the way till college. Through college, I still play it every once in a while when I have an opportunity. When there's a new version that comes out, it's a beautiful game. It's a wonderful story, amazing pacing. The bad guy wins halfway through the game. It's one of those things where it was kind of the trailblazer before, JRPGs were really a huge thing. On top of that, Earthbound, huge classic. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Pitfall 2 for the Atari. Halo. Probably my most played game right now is League of Legends. I've put more time into that game than I would care to admit.
But guilty pleasures.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I mean, there's great games that I'm just absolutely just floored with right now, like Child of Light that just came out. Available on all the consoles, PC. It was amazing to see in a world where we have so many Call of Duties and Titanfalls and Battlefields, and everything's getting rehashed and reused over and over and over. Sequels, and hey, saying we're gonna copy this genre. I've not played anything like Child of Light since Super Nintendo days.
Really?
And,
check that out. Yeah.
It's
like the millionth person I've heard that from.
I'll tell you. Doing the review was amazing. Just because we tried something new, and we actually we streamed our review process. And I mean, when you have 700 people in a Twitch channel just yelling and screaming about a plot twist that happened in the game or something like that, I mean, it was hilarious. It got so bad that our Twitch mod bot actually almost, I think, gained sentience and started like kicking people out of the chat for whatever reason. But it was literally, we had to boot the bot, which was kind of funny. It's bringing something that gaming used to be back to gaming. As far as my all-time favorite games, I love the classics, but I still love to see that there's games like Bravely Default, Child of Light, The Last of Us that are still coming out, and they're not afraid to say, hey, listen, we're gonna kind of do our thing, and you can like it, you can not like it. Hopefully you do, and and we'll go from there. I mean, I'm not huge on the reboots. Like, Last of Us is coming out on PlayStation 4? Yeah, okay. I bought it once.
Right.
I'm good. But yeah, that's that's definitely where I stand. Let me ask you guys, where do you guys stand on your favorite games?
I'm a huge Galaga fan. I just every time I see that, I would always play it. Or Spy Hunter, Spy Hunter, yeah. Just every time I would go, bowling as a kid, that was after I was done. Is like I have to go play Spy Hunter, and then every iteration that has like come out, except like that funky 3D version one, I think that came out on like the PlayStation,
voiced by The Rock. I remember that one.
I just can't do that. But no, just the classic. Give me those, and give me some MLB The Show. That's my thing. I
haven't played the new one of that yet, but I want to. I'm a big baseball fan.
Well, you and Kevin have a lot to talk about that. I'm a recreational user of baseball. No, I think if I was to start off, I would say that the original Mario games were hot. I was big into Sega, when it was out, and I had all of its variations. I had the friggin' Saturn, the Dream whatever.
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast,
there you go. So I was a big Ninja Gaiden fan all the way through. Even though I hate it because it always beat me for the most of the time. Let's see, Commander. Oh, what was the name? Contra. That was it for.
Contra. Everybody.
I love me some Contra.
Dude, Contra was the shizzle. So was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. Also, I started playing the Resident Evil games from the 1 all the way up, and I just never get tired of killing zombies. Period. I don't know if it's just like a deep desire to take out undead things, but I don't know. They make a million of those things, and I know that my cred just probably dropped 10, percentage points or whatever. But I enjoyed the original PlayStation games. I haven't played any of the newer stuff or anything like that, but I enjoyed playing a lot of the. I think the last awesome hand-to-hand combat game was Mortal Kombat, I think Alliance, I want to say, for the original Xbox. I played me some crap out of that when I was in the service and before I left. So I would say that, and then into now, I would say probably Borderlands. I would say, the Halo series, I've always been a big fan. Just because I hadn't got into a community, I never got into the online gaming, like the the community gaming style stuff, like the Titanfalls and the League of Legends and all those kinds of things. I was always just in the one-man show just because that's all I really had time for. I couldn't really commit to anything else. But man, I enjoyed World of Warcraft. I enjoyed StarCraft. All that stuff it's hot. It's awesome, and I think it all has kind of a place, But that's what I dig.
Yeah, another big one for me was the Civilization series. I started, Civilization 1 with like 3 or 4 floppy disks, moved to 2, moved on to 3. Oh god, man, you could just lose yourself for days playing that.
I have Civ 5 and I've never played it, and I think I haven't played it because I always hear everybody say, well, you're going to start at like 10 o'clock and it's going to be 5 in the morning.
Exactly.
And
I've got it and I've installed
afraid.
3 times.
I'm really afraid of that game.
It's funny how we know, like when you talk to the gamers and even people that are movie buffs, they're just like, I know that if I start this, there's a chance I'm not coming back for like a couple of days.
Yeah.
I may not come back from this for a little while. I'm not even gonna know who I am.
It's like binge watching House of Cards or something on Netflix. You just start with one episode, next thing you know, it's 7 hours later.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a sign of a great game.
Yeah, exactly.
And
one more turn.
Exactly. I'll say, JJ, if you haven't played League of Legends, you may not want to. My last game log, I think I had over 2,000 hours in the game.
Holy mother!
Yeah. So save yourself, man. Run.
Okay. Well, noted. Yeah. Plus, my wife she'd just roundhouse me. I mean, she would just
She probably would.
Yeah. But before we get on to packing my marriage life, what does the future look like for Front Burner? I really wanted to get into that so our audience could go and check that out, because I know there's obviously a lot of crossover from the tech side and the gaming community. Well, what's coming? Well, I know you can't talk too much about it, but tell us what the future looks like for Front Burner.
Well, here's what I can tell you about. There's some huge things on the horizon. The future's incredibly bright. We are looking to grow our publication footprint with new features and hold more contests. One of the biggest things I can tell everybody is if you can get online, you can create an account. We have an insight chat. If you log on to the account, log on to your account on frontburner.com or .net. Used to be .com. If you log on to the site on frontburner.net, there's actually a live chat that you can get in. You can talk with anybody that's logged into the chat, and you can't break it. That's a great thing. I've seen an incredibly large amount of people in there. It's incredibly cool stuff. It's going to continue to grow. We're always listening for feedback. Great things that we can do. I mean, we're looking to become one of the big dogs. This isn't your typical run out of a site hobby website. I mean, this is literally a network, and it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, that's awesome.
It's a great start. It's definitely a great start.
Yeah, it is a great start. And next time we have you back on, because I would love to have you back on again once you guys have unveiled this, and we can help push this out to all of our networking and all that kind of jazz. Once you guys turn on the new features or the new things that you guys are going to be doing in the future, we'd love to have you back on so you could do that, and maybe we could open up our own little chat window and get people engaged and and asking questions or whatever. That'd be really fun and hot. If you're up for it.
Absolutely. In fact, I'd love to. Maybe we can embed the Google Huddle into the site.
Yeah, absolutely. We will do that next time. When should we be looking for these changes to be coming down to the site?
Hopefully soon. That's unfortunately nothing I have any control over. Yeah. As far as the content changes, that's something we're working on with things like random drops. Okay. We're trying to get away from less of, hey, who wants to see a top 10 of the coolest video game characters, and more of a, hey, you want to know more about Loot Crate? Cool, come on over. You want to know about with, like, for example, my wife, the casual gamer. I play a popular video game. My wife watches. She doesn't really play a lot of games, and adds her 2 cents in, and it goes from games we all love that she hates to hilarious responses to some of the more questionable games out there. So, I mean, we try to keep things fresh, and that's definitely where we're going. And a hint at things to come.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. Unfortunately, we're, obviously our audience, we deal with the fact that people don't want to listen to us after a certain amount of time. They just kind of quit. So we would love to have you back on. So thank you for being on the program tonight. You're not out of the woods quite yet. We still have our application picks of the week. But first, let me go ahead and say thank you again. Our announcements for the week are the STL, the Windows Phone group, is going to meet May 10th. That's this Saturday in the St. Louis Galleria, at the St. Louis Galleria in the Microsoft Store. So be looking out for that. If you want to join our group, just go to Facebook and join up. You don't even have to live in St. Louis. If you just want to join up with a cool group of people you want to be friends with, then join the group. We'd be more than happy to bring you on board. Even from Tampa, come on in. STL Tech Talk is covering the Microsoft Store National Small Business Week all week next week. JJ, that is me. I'm going to be in the Microsoft Store talking with businesses, hands-on. We're going to be discussing where Microsoft can help your business, your small business, go to the next level. We're going to be covering the event. There are going to be giveaways, prizes. We're going to give something away. We're going to do a giveaway, I should say, rather. We're going to give away an Office 365 subscription. We're also probably going to be giving away some shirts. And there's some other stuff that we're going to be doing there as well. A photo booth. We're actually going to shoot a podcast, this podcast, live from the Microsoft Store. So we're going to be taking questions from people, and they can answer them right then and there. We can just pull an associate over and say, hey, answer this question. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to next week. It's going to be a lot in this weekend. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and tell us your application pick of the week, what operating system they're running on, because you have multiple ones here. Go ahead and get us started.
All right. Everybody knows about Wordament. It's kind of like it's a word game, and it's been really popular on the Windows Phone platform. And they've released a kind of a second version. It's called Snap Attack by Wordament for Windows Phone 8 and Windows Phone 8.1. And it's another one of those those nice mobile games. You just get in there and you start playing around, and you're playing with people from all over the world in these different word levels. You're trying to, snap as many letters together to make up as many words as possible in a set amount of time, and you're checking your score against people all around the world. And you have like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, depending on the specific level. It's available for free on Windows Phone 8. And the other game I just purchased and downloaded on my Android device is RBI Baseball 14. We spoke earlier about classic games. I always love to play RBI Baseball and Baseball Stars on the old Nintendo. And I thought I'd just give it a whirl and see how it is. And I played about 4 or 5 innings before the show. And it's like the second pitch they threw to me, Matt Carpenter, opposite field home run. I was down 2-1 at the end of 3 innings, and it was time to really finish getting ready for the show. But it's fun. I can definitely see myself.
Sorry, the show cut into your having fun.
Yeah, the show, it's another one of those things. But it's available for $4.99 on Android and iOS devices. So if you're a big baseball fan and you're kind of been yearning for a nice portable baseball game, give RBI Baseball 14 a shot.
Awesome, man. So my pick of the week says podcast ! For Windows Phone 8 and 8.1. You can download that in the Windows Phone store. I like this because it does a really good job of aggregating podcasts. It has a nice directory. You can find us in there. If you can't directly, you can actually pull our feed from our site and put it in there, which is cool. I have our Codecast and our STLTechTalk podcast, both podcasts on my start screen as tiles, which is really great. So all I have to do is tap on the tile. It goes directly into the podcast directory, and I can just listen from there. It's really cool. I like it a lot. Also for Windows Phone 8, if you haven't been able to tell a trend, I have a Windows Phone. I use it every day, all the time. Microsoft got rid of the old music application in Windows 8.1 with the newer version of their music application. I don't hate it, but I certainly don't love it. They've got a long way to go for this particular application. So my pick is Music Hub Tile. Music Hub Tile. It's in the store. It's for free as well. This accesses the old version, what we have on Windows Phone 8, the music interface, the Music Hub interface. I like the look and feel of it. It reminds me a lot of Xbox stuff. So it really ties back in nicely, and I don't know why they got rid of it in 8.1. Hopefully they do a better job bringing it back. So those are my 2 picks of the week. Now, Josh, what are your picks for this week as far as mobile operating system applications go?
Well, I've recently discovered ISIS for my Android device. If you're not familiar with it, ISIS is if you ever go to like a vending machine or the gas station, they have that thing that looks like a sideways Wi-Fi symbol.
Yes.
You wave your phone in front of the that device with your ISIS active, and it pays for stuff. Now, while that's pretty cool, the thing that really blew my mind is that this is set up so that you earn points, you earn money back. I went to Toys R Us and spent about $50 at Toys R Us and got $10 back plus like 5% of what I purchased off. And
wow,
that blew my mind. The fact that an app on my phone is allowing me to do this, and you set it up on a credit card or a bank account, or if you have like a Chase a smart account or whatever it's called, a prepaid account, you can do that. There's different ways to set it up. But I was pretty amazed. I mean, we're all familiar with things like Google Wallet, but this is a more functional version of Google Wallet, and it was pretty amazing to check that out. So I've been playing around with that to my wife's chagrin for the last few weeks, and
you shouldn't be.
yeah. Oh well, just she's like, oh, you bought a drink from the vending machine. I'm like, I just waved my phone.
I know. I hate how easy they make it for me to spend my own money. It's bad enough that money used to burn a hole in my pocket when it was in cash form. Let alone where all I have to do is press a button and it's over.
Exactly. And then, of course, I'm just a huge. I love to absorb information, so the whole Reddit is fun app on Android is something I've been living off of with massive commutes and getting stuck in traffic and things like that. That's it's a great way to stay up.
Yeah,
with,
Tampa is awesome for their traffic, by the way. No one in freaking Tampa knows how to drive, by the way.
I do. I think I'm the only one.
Yeah, on my way from Clearwater back to my hotel, which was a little north of Orlando, I was like, oh my God, my head's going to explode. There's no way I could live in this traffic all the time. No way.
Oh, it's like I said, I have an hour commute every day. And then outside of that, I got a Windows phone. I'm going to have to talk with you about what I need to do with this, because right now it's just a thing that has some pretty cool squares on it.
Yeah,
First thing you need to do, load Windows Phone 8.1.
Yeah.
It doesn't have it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, we can get it to you.
Yeah, I got a 928. So.
Oh, check
Oh,
it out. That's sweet. That's a good one here.
Yeah, heck yeah. So we'll definitely drill into that. So guys, that wraps up a beautiful episode. Thank you both for being on, and thank you, Kevin, for filling in for me last night in the Codecast.
It was a pleasure.
You guys want to add it to the end?
Well, guys, thank you for having me on. I absolutely appreciate it, and hopefully we'll be touching base again in the future.
Oh, we will, sir. I like you. So we're going to have more of these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin?
The last thing I want to announce is next week I'll be in Kansas City. Me and Gus Emery from Codecast will be covering the KCDC, Kansas City Developer Conference, starting on next Thursday is officially when it kicks off, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but I'll be there Wednesday evening and be coming back sometime Sunday. So you will not see my smiling face on next Thursday's podcast.
No, but you will hear a very sexy Latino sound voice. His name is Alejandro Ramirez. Many of you know him from our most recent podcast. He didn't come on tonight because I benched him because he needs to work on our application. So I told him that you don't get to come on tonight. You have to work on our app, and then we'll bring you back on.
Put Alejandro in timeout.
Yeah. No. This isn't a punishment. No, he's being rewarded.
Oh, I know.
Work on our. No, I'm just giving him crap, because when he listens to this, he's gonna laugh at his desk at work, and it's gonna be hilarious. Again. Josh, thank you so much for being on. Thank you to all of our fans. We love and thank you for your support of this show, and from the entire STL Tech Talk crew. Stay frosty. We're out.